Welcome to Kudos AM, a podcast exploring the future and impact of design innovation as they intersect with art, business, and technology. I'm your host, John Kudos, and today my guest is Jan Wilker. Hello, Jan.
Hello, nice to be here. Thank you for coming out to Ridgewood today.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day here in Ridgewood,
so too,
Queens.
Yeah.
Who's this little guy?
This is our son Ike, 6 months, and he's with me today here, checking on me.
Yeah. Just making sure you're not saying the wrong thing.
Enjoying our time in the garden, and then of course also some cats are roaming around here. Yeah.
It really is the perfect day. So, are we in your studio right now?
It's where the studio moved about 10 years ago. We used to be in Manhattan on 6th Avenue and 14th Street for about 16 years. And then we've moved out here. And I love it. Yeah, I happen to live right above the studio. So.
Oh, that's amazing. So we have some shots here to share.
Yeah.
I think, I kind of think back about how we actually know each other.
Mm-hmm.
And you probably don't know this, but I was a design student in MICA many years ago. And I was so excited to receive Sagmeister Made You Look book.
Mm-hmm.
And Sagmeister was one of my design heroes when I was a very young student, right? And how are you connected with Stefan?
I interned there in the glorious year of 1999. Yeah, that was fantastic. That was the only internship I did in design, and right at that moment was also when Stefan announced his sabbatical. Mm-hmm. So that meant that his designer and myself, intern, we didn't really know what we would do in the future or during that sabbatical. So the name of his designer was Hjalti Karlsson.
Okay.
And then we had gotten along so well, so that we just then, hey, now you're making noises. Now, that's funny.
The outtakes are great.
We just decided to continue this
what
design.
year was this? Do you remember?
1999.
1999.
Yeah, 1999.
And where did Stefan take his sabbatical to?
I think back then he just stayed in New York. So Hjalti and myself, we just didn't have any other plan or any other, and then it just felt so natural. Like, hey, Stefan is taking a break. Let's just continue, and that's what we did. We didn't really. I can tell you, we didn't really know each other that well. Like my internship was 3 months, and I think we went.
Basically, 2 interns.
Well, designer. Hjalti was a designer.
He's a designer.
Yeah.
Right. So what did you do? You just got an office and start working?
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
That's pretty
I went back
ballsy.
to Germany. I was still a student back then. I went back to Germany. Then maybe like 10 months after my internship, we started a studio together in New York.
Okay, so this is the same office that you hosted the World Graphic Designer Foosball Championship?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. That's that office.
That office.
With beautiful parties that were had at that place.
I remember those days.
Yeah.
And I think you outgrown the championship and the tournament, and I think you went to the Art Directors Club.
Yeah, Art Directors Club and then Cooper Union.
I still got some pictures from those days. Yeah.
Yeah, that was great. That was so funny. Yeah, I always thought of them like a design conference without the annoying lectures.
Yeah, no one talks about design.
Yeah.
And some people cosplay as well.
It was great. I had so much fun.
So tell me about how you ended up in New York, because you were...
Because of that, what we just talked about, I did this internship with Stefan, and...
But I mean, before coming to New York, you were basically a second year, third year student, or what were you doing?
I was studying in Germany,
What did you study?
So I started studying architecture in Stuttgart.
Oh, interesting.
Did internships, studied, and then I switched fairly quickly to graphic design because it was obvious that architecture would just take quite long
That's right.
to build anything.
Yeah.
And I wasn't aware of that, I think, for some reason. So I just wanted to have more instant gratification, I guess.
Okay, so let's talk about that studio, because you said you were in the same space for 16 years.
Yep.
And you just decided to open, just you and Hjalti. How did you actually find out that it was going to work?
Well, you don't really find out. You don't get a letter that says, it's working. It's just this constant trial and error, and yeah, we're still finding out today if it works or not. And I think everything is changing all the time, and so I think it's a constant dance. I mean, as a studio, you exist within like a larger network and society, so it's not only up to you. It's,
right.
There are all these other factors. I mean, so far we've been extremely lucky that we were able to do it that long. I mean, it's 26 years now. It's crazy.
Well, how was the first year?
I think the first year is like the first year of a new relationship. It's just, you don't see
you didn't actually know each other so well either.
Yeah, but you don't see any red flags, nothing. Everything is like amazing. And I mean, the first year was great. I think it's just this beautiful high of like, you have your own studio, it feels great, it's a beautiful city, and I think we were young and just also we didn't really have many things to worry about, It was just, it felt like a little playground, We always kept it very light. And it was always like, I mean, for the first, I guess, 8 years, it was just Hjalti, myself, and then maybe an intern. That was it.
Oh, wow.
Very, very small.
You didn't hire a full-time designer?
Not until, I think, year 8.
So let's talk about maybe, what kind of business were you working with, clients in the beginning?
Whoever called us, whoever...
But how do they know you existed?
Well, that's a good question. My thought was, I'm starting the studio with this Icelander, and he's been in New York for so long, and he will bring in all these jobs. But I didn't really understand that he was a designer, and all his friends were designers. So there's not that many clients through him.
So you studied architecture.
Yeah, and then I switched over to graphic design or communication design, I guess it was called. And yeah, so in my last year, like a 5 or 6 year program, I did an internship with Stefan, and then came back to Stuttgart, continued, and then came back to New York to start an office with Hjalti.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
we started in the year of 2000.
Okay, yeah. But why did you choose New York, of all places?
I didn't choose anything. I mean, I did an internship with Stefan, and he happened to be in New York. I didn't really, at some point I didn't know where he was. I just knew that I have to do an internship with Stefan. That's what that's what I wanted to do. And then he turned out to be in New York, and then I came to New York, and then, then it's just,
It just happened.
Yeah. I mean, I was never the one that like, one day I want to live in New York. Not at all.
Any regrets being in New York now?
No, not regrets, but I think it definitely grew on me. And I also think that I think I would have been fine in Stuttgart, in Germany, if I would have stayed there. I think I would have been fine.
You would have been fine anywhere.
I think so, yeah. Because I was never like this, where I am, I'm not happy, and I need to move somewhere to become that new version of me. Right. That, yeah.
Yeah, you didn't set out on a journey to find anything. You just happened.
It just happened.
To end up here.
Yeah. And I mean, of course, I'm grateful.
Yeah. So let's talk about your practice, because you said it took you 8 years before you hired anyone full time.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So it sounds like you were very hands-on with your projects then.
Yeah, and we still are. Yeah. Yeah.
How big is your team?
5 people.
And that's two of you and three full-time.
Yeah.
Okay. So would you consider yourself a graphic designer, a technologist, an artist?
I think for the longest time, I would introduce myself as designer. I think more recently, it's more like a, I guess, business owner or something.
Business owner.
You know, whatever you want to call it.
Wow, that's a big turn.
Yeah.
I heard you took something from Goldman Sachs. What was that?
Yeah. We talked about that. So they have this 10K SB program.
What is that?
I think it's called 10,000 Small Businesses.
Uh-huh.
I guess they started it 15, 16 years ago. And it's a business program for small business owners. I think it's 14 weeks, 1 day a week in person. And since I had never any proper business education and I just learned on the fly and whenever anything was needed, that was really, that was a fantastic thing for me. And I just finished last week. I think it did change a lot in a sense that I think that I had the design process kind of down, and I think that's all that I cared about for pretty much 26 years.
Isn't it shocking that you're able to do that for 26 years without knowing business per
I mean,
se?
before that I thought it was normal, and after that program I'm like, oh man, we were so lucky.
Sometimes I feel the same way
It's-
because
yeah,
you know,
it's
I always
crazy,
tell
yeah.
people when I started, it was just trial by fire. You just
Yeah, of
make
course, yeah,
mistakes, you get burned, and you learn what not to do.
Yeah, and I think that's also beautiful to just jump in. And I think that the way it turned out now, that it took me a while to do this, I think it's totally fine. Like I think it comes at a good point.
Yeah. So your body of work after 26 years,
Yeah.
would you say it has evolved over time, or do you still feel like this is the same process that you've been, applying?
I would say from the outside it must feel very similar, because the most important thing is still that we have enough time to spend on something. I think what changed is us, of course. I think we're way more experienced in some sense, and I think we're not as brash, or in my case, I guess arrogant anymore. You know, like that, the arrogance of youth. I mean, if you don't want to use the word arrogance, but a certain carelessness, I think is great.
Why do you use the word careless? I mean, is it just about going after things?
I'm not saying careless towards craft or anything, but like, I mean, do you know, once you get older, there society and it's
What's expected
millions
of you.
millions of rules and
Yeah.
like and assumptions, and then it's just it I think it gets to you. I think you just have to be vigilant to not let it come too close.
Yeah.
At a certain moment in time, like for me when I was, 25 to 35, that was not an issue. But to your point, I think the process and the time and the joy we had for designing is still very similar, but we are just a little, I guess, more, experienced, calmer, like
Right.
in some sense wiser. We use our energy a little bit more, I guess, focused,
Yeah. I mean, you touch on a few things there. So one of them is the carelessness, but it's also like, I think even over time, as you said, from the outside it may look like your practice is the same, but you know how to navigate it better.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I think in our practice as agencies, so to speak, right, we have to create something for clients who hire you, right? So we have to figure out how to sell every idea. And what always impresses me about your body of work is, I don't know how to describe it. It's just more unexpected than most things that I see. Unusual.
Yeah.
Like how do you feel about that? Is that your goal, to create something very different every time?
I think for Hjalti and myself, I think that we are so bored by things that we have already seen, that we just continue, until we find something that makes us smile. That I think our curiosity is just too strong to do what's expected and then
Mm.
charge and the client, and then we're done with it.
So you refuse to create anything that feels boring to you.
Yeah, but also that doesn't sound right when you say it. I think it's just it's this, when we design together, Hjalti and myself, it's so much fun to do it that first of all we don't want it to stop, and also we want to amuse ourselves and the other one, and just, hey, look at this strange thing. I think the word strange, I think that's what we're looking for, like something that's weird, you know, like that's.
Is that where the humor also comes from?
I think so, yeah, and I think that very much aligns with what we're laughing about, or just what amuses us. And I think that's also like with doing this for 26 years, and that's why I'm also so surprised that we're still around, because it's in its basic foundation. Our studio is just based on inefficiency. Like you cannot do that fast. Like that exploring and not knowing, there are just no guarantees if you find anything going down this road or that. You just have to do it. You just have to go out and take that long walk, and shortcuts don't really work. Shortcuts are great for doing something that is tried and true, and you just repeat it. But leaving that path, I think that's just, you don't know what you find. Sometimes you just work for a day and you almost found something, but not really. You know what I mean? Like it's just you don't have a lot of control, I think, of what you find. And I think that has little to do with clients. It's more that's what Hjalti and I, that's what we're drawn to. Yeah.
So how do you balance the time that you need to get to where you need to be, which is exploring that strangeness, until you find that one thing that makes it work, with, say, deadlines or budget that a client usually imposes on you?
Yeah. I mean, deadline, you just, from the beginning, asked for a certain amount of time. Like, I don't know, like for us, it's a lot of times like 4, 5, or 6 weeks.
Do you keep the client, say, updated within that window when you're still exploring?
Sometimes not, no. I mean, I don't find this particularly short, that amount of time, no?
Yeah, so I mean, but that's the thing, every time I speak with different designers, like with Zepang, he can do it with 1 day, right?
Yeah.
But, so I'm really curious about your process then, how, because managing the client is the business side of things.
Yeah.
But your exploration is more your personal goal to explore or achieve some level of satisfaction.
That's where it starts, but it's also our core service. And like, if you want to talk about it in like service industry vocabulary, that's like our core service is exactly this, like this long exploration where we can deliver slightly unexpected, out of the norm.
So what happens if a client say, we only have 2 weeks? What would you do?
I don't think that really happens.
It doesn't happen?
No, I think if anything, it's more like we don't have that much money, but time is really never an issue.
Well, I mean, it's also how you manage the client, I think, right? Because, and also what kind of clients are you're attracting.
Yeah, I would think so. That already, like that initial filter. I would guess that our work functions as a filter for a certain amount of client. I mean, not that. I mean, we didn't plan any of this. It just, we just started, and then years later you look back and you're like, oh, that must have worked. I guess a client that needs something quick might also be a client that wants something that everyone else has, and they don't see that in our portfolio. So why would they call us? And I can tell you that what we show in that first round is just a hodgepodge of serious and unserious things. We don't come with ta-da, this is the big reveal after 5 weeks of hard work. Ta-da, this is the thing. So I think what we try to break open everything in the first, like with that first presentation, and then narrow it down.
Yeah.
Like our first step is not narrowing it down right away from like the briefing or what, you know. We don't go in with like 1 or 2 or 3.
Yeah.
It might be 20 or 50.
Yeah.
It depends.
When I look at your work, even from years ago, maybe 2 decades ago, when I remember distinctively when you both just started, and I think you had was it a poster, because the posters were like a thing back then, where you have like a lot of diagrams, right? So I remember this one.
Yeah.
So, and then that your work evolves very quickly to my eyes when I look at your body of work. You embrace technology in a way, right?
Yeah.
So it feels like you experiment with a lot of things, including and I see in the studio you have a 3D printer here.
Yeah.
You also have that ice cream shop, right? I don't know if that has anything to do with this business, but I just want to hear, your feeling or your philosophy around, how technology informs your work.
Yeah, I think what we touched on earlier, like the spending time with something and just trying things, like leaving the path. I think what really helps is also having different tools.
Mm-hmm.
So just by trying out new tools and to see where that could take you, that helps. So that means that a new piece of software. I remember in, 2007 or 8, I got Lightwave. Like that's
for 3D.
3D, yeah. It's like, I don't think it exists anymore. And
we use Blender now.
yeah, exactly. I mean, there was Lightwave, and then Cinema 4D. I think a couple of years later I started. And Blender now is, I think, one of the things that we use a lot. And even before that, there were these strange plugins for Freehand and Illustrator, like these 3D plugins that didn't really work well. And I think that was always a source of surprising outcomes. Like I think that's what tools in general deliver. Is just the possibility to create something that you haven't seen before. Like that's like if you work with a pencil and then all of a sudden you work with a garden hose, I would guess that whatever you're doing is going to look different.
Right.
So I think that we were always very curious about new tools to create like new visuals and to just take these deep dives. Always. And I think that comes with that time as a process, and then what do you do with that time? Like of course you can spend it drawing, you can spend it in an Illustrator file, but I think as soon as a tool changes and is also a little bit uncomfortable to you, then all these bizarre accidents happen that,
So you actually look for those accidents.
Always, yeah.
How about typography? Would you ever use a serif font?
Yeah.
I noticed most of your work, at least from what I could tell, everything is sans serif.
Yeah. I mean, we tried, and I think by now we might have 3 projects 4 maybe. I mean, we've been trying, but somehow in the end it's not a disdain. It's just somehow it just never ends up being the. So different designers think about type differently, right? Yeah.
And I fully embrace typography in all my work.
Yeah.
So do you feel like typography is a driver in your work, or is it the technology, or is it more this finding the strangeness in your design?
I would say we're not typography driven, but that doesn't mean that we never do. Sometimes we do, but it's this exploration can start with so many things. It can start, of course, with type, and it does a lot of times. But it can also start with something else, with a shape, or with a new tool, with an old tool, whatever it takes to to get somewhere new, that that's what we will try out, and we try so many things all the time.
Let's think about the application of your work, because digitally, obviously, you can output animation, right? And I think you've done projects with augmented reality, I think, or virtual reality. What about in actual space? I think you've done some signage work as well, right?
Yeah. I think more and more. I think we're.
Yeah. So how do you bridge that gap of, you do all these explorations that eventually have to become something buildable?
I think the idea of experimentation is not limited to any area. You can do some interesting extruded type, and build it in physical space. These barriers, or they don't really exist for us. That was never we were never shied away to do something.
Nothing is off limit.
Not really, no. Like if someone asked us, we would be happy to do it. Since we just talked about these olden days, like I remember when we did this MTV, that orb thing. This is like what, 22 years ago or something, a long time ago. For MTV, that on-air branding system. We had never done animation before. We had no clue really, but the client was still like, MTV was still like, hey, do this.
Oh, they prompted you to try something.
Yeah, they're like, hey, do this, and then we had this After Effects wizard in the office for I don't know 6-7 months, and then we just got to work and we tried so many things out, and most of them were so stupid they didn't work, because we first had to build like our understanding and experience with that new tool.
Right.
But then eventually we ended up with something that I thought back then was cool, And I think that's, I guess in another way you could also say that our process is not tied to any medium,
The first time I come visit here, I was struck by the setup of your studio. You have almost look like a storefront as you walk in, and it looks like you're also selling things. Can we talk about some of the stuff that I saw there?
Yeah. I mean, it looks like a store.
Yeah.
It might not function like a store, but in theory you can buy stuff. Yeah.
So the jacket, for example, I think that's a local Ridgewood craftsman, right? Who can do that.
Yeah,
can you talk more about the jacket?
They're like walking around Ridgewood, you would find these somewhat curiously looking doors. They're painted fake wood grain, and they have that somewhat unnatural color, like this sand beige orange kind of look. And they're everywhere in this neighborhood. So when we moved here like 10 years ago, I was curious about it, because I hadn't really seen this around in other areas of New York. So I found this guy who paints them, and he turned out to be the last one of the craftsmen doing it. So he turned out to be also like a German guy, and he's like, I don't know, 82 or something, or 81 now. And we got along, and then we started doing workshops for the neighborhood, because the neighborhood was very interested in learning about the technique. And we were still trying to find someone who would take over his business, because he wants to retire and his children don't want to take over that business. So I think it would be a shame if that craft, like it's hyper local craft, if that would get lost. So yeah, we're doing these workshops, and then I also thought it would be nice to have a jacket painted by him. So he painted the pattern of the jacket on wood panels, and then we scanned it in, and then we have this line of wood grain jackets.
Looks amazing.
So that's the little story behind these jackets.
Yeah. So I think you being located here, it's the first time I heard about it. It was shocking, because most design studios, agencies are either in Manhattan and Brooklyn,
Oh.
and then suddenly just pop here out of nowhere. And you said you were in that space in Manhattan for 16 years, and you moved here. How did that happen?
Yeah, I mean we were super happy in the space that we were in Manhattan, right above the Dunkin' Donuts. I mean, at some point that building was, I think it was fantastic. It was Dunkin' Donuts, us, office of Paul Sayre,
Oh, right, you were neighbors.
and then Frank DeRose on the top floor. So 3 small design studios, and
Yeah.
then the Dunkin' Donuts on the bottom. 4-story building. We had it was fantastic. It was really, it was a beautiful, beautiful time. And our lives just only evolved around design,
And
so,
donuts.
not so much, only at the very beginning, and then we quit. Yeah, so that came to an end. Like Paul moved out, Frank stopped, and then the building was sold to a developer, and everything was torn down. And where our little building was, now there is like this, I don't know, 22-story luxury apartment building on 14th Street and 6th Avenue. Yeah. So then the question was, do we stay in Manhattan and rent, or is there maybe another way to continue this? So we ended up out here.
But of all the places that you look for, right? I mean, you ended up here, and it's not very common for any designers or who actually have a practice, like 5 people practice to do that, to move out of the city.
I mean, that's what we did back then.
Was it the neighborhood? Was it the building?
I think the building, the neighborhood, the fact that I would move in upstairs with my family.
Well, that's nice to be able to work and live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Would have it been better to stay in Manhattan and rent? I don't know, maybe. But I think now in 2026, I think this is perfect.
It's a beautiful space too. Yeah, very convenient.
Everyone moves away from Manhattan anyway, and I think that it's. Yeah, I happen to really like it. I love it. It's perfect for me.
Can we talk about the ice cream window?
If you want to, yeah, of course. Yeah.
How did that come about? Like, how did you end up doing that?
I mean, having a ground floor studio with like a storefront, and then we don't really have any local clients, like so we always wanted a connection to the neighborhood. That's why when we redid the facade, we wanted to have a service window. So for the first few years when we moved out here, we thought maybe coffee, and then we looked into coffee, and like we did some coffee tasting, but back then like no one really drank coffee, so it didn't make any sense for coffee. And then we just didn't know how to use the service window. And then in 2020, when everything was shut down, Ella, like my wife, when we walked around the neighborhood, she's like, ice cream. Has to be ice cream. And it's so obvious, but I mean, I'd never thought
because there's no ice cream shop around here?
There's no ice cream shop around here that is just a window. Back then, you couldn't open any businesses, like you couldn't go inside. So window service was the thing. And we had a window ready. So ice cream, and then we tried it out, and the neighborhood really liked it, and we like it. I happen to really enjoy it. It's something that you don't get from designing behind a screen.
Yeah.
As a designer, you sit behind a screen, like safe, no interaction with anyone, and you just make up your own. You just make up a lot of stuff, and you hope for the best when you send it out and you produce it. But this connection and just immediacy of handing someone ice cream and seeing them smile and like taste it, and I think that is something that that doesn't happen in as a designer.
As a designer,
Yeah.
I think about that a lot.
Yeah.
About
Yeah.
how our practice as graphic designers can make immediate impact on people. I mean, maybe poster is the closest thing. You see people looking at the poster,
Yeah.
but this is just a different part of your sensibility.
Yeah,
This is
yeah,
a taste bud, visual.
Yeah.
The smell, right?
It's also a beautiful reminder that it's about people, really, and that human interaction. I think that's just. I think the ice cream window itself, I use it for so many different learnings in some sense.
What have you learned?
Well, I mean, of course, like the first year or two when we worked ourselves at the window, it was your decision to wake up, go down, and to either bring your bad moods to the customers or to change. It's so simple. But of course, if you want, you can use these. You can use anything.
That's so cool.
as your,
because ice cream makes people smile. I guess you have to
yeah.
embody that image immediately, no matter how you feel, right?
You don't have to, but you're going to have a better time doing it. So I think there's just all these beautiful things that you get away with so much silly things as a designer, and like unhealthy things in some sense. But I think that serving humans, I think that's I think it's a great teacher. I think in many ways.
Yeah.
And then design itself can also teach you so many things.
Yeah.
But I think that to me it's really about all these different things that I do in my life, or that we all do in our lives, and we can just we don't have to see them as separate. I think that that they can really become this beautifully connected, stronger whole in a sense.
Yeah. This kind of takes us back to the beginning of this conversation, because you describe yourself as a business owner now.
Yeah, or like an entrepreneur, or but also still, I mean, acting designer for sure, like all the time.
Well, I don't think you
every
can
day.
unlearn design.
No.
It's once you know how to ride a bike, you will know how to do it forever.
Yeah, and I think that I think it's a design for me is a beautiful way to approach any subject. It's analytical if you want to. It's exploratory. It's free. It can be very creative. It can be very systematic. Like there's so many tools that are part of the design toolbox. I think it's an excellent way to approach a lot of things. Like ice cream window, I approached it as a designer, of course, but not as a, I don't know, type designer, or or
and
like a
and the
brand,
tools
like
also change over time, right? Because you have to market it somehow, and then you have to figure out how to do that.
But I would say that this curiosity, I think that's that would be my definition of a designer. That is just very curious about things, and because that's what you need to drive you forward to understand things.
If you have to go back to your college years and starting your internship days, what would you have changed? What would you tell your younger self to start doing earlier?
Oh no, it's this long continuation. I think that there is no.
You don't have to change anything.
It's just like. I started my first company that I started was when I was 17 or 18 in my hometown of Ulm. Before I even started studying architecture or design, I started a creative studio, or like an idea studio, not knowing what design was. I just thought that I needed this official place where I can bring my ideas to life. And I did this for a couple of years, and it was fantastic. It was awesome. And then I think the reason why I studied architecture and design was just I didn't want to stay an autodidact. I just wanted to learn some skills. Yeah, but the idea was always to be this that it's about ideas and the joy of creativity. Yeah.
And people.
I mean, I mean, and people. Yeah, let's not forget people. Yeah. So I think that it's, in some sense, it's like this ongoing, no big breaks for me, or redirections. It seems very connected, but again, that's what we all can say when we look back. Usually, it's like we just, like, in hindsight, you can make all these beautiful connections.
Yeah.
When I was in it, a few things felt like of course moving from Stuttgart to New York, but design-wise, it seems very, I guess, organic. Yeah.
Organic. Yeah. So, I mean, it's really, I think it's really beautiful, you know, how you frame everything, and I think when I look at what you're doing now, how you're also giving back to the community, right? And we all have different ways to do that, but I think as designers, sometimes we don't always know how to apply our skill to impact people's life, especially the one that's very close to you. So I really appreciate seeing what you're doing, you know, in Ridgewood, and sort of projecting that image kind of outwards. You know, this is about people. This is about, you know, the ice cream, the jacket, right? So I think there's a lot of things that I feel like really aligns with what I've been thinking about as well. You know, I feel like designers should figure out ways to generate impact, you know, and it's not just about client work per se, and it's just trying to find that balance. You know, some things are more rewarding than others.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that you have to. I think in our case, we just happen to have that space. I think the space is a big driver. If you would be on a 7th floor in Manhattan, you know, you just can't do certain things, you know.
But it's also what tools, resources that are available to you.
Yeah.
Right? What's next? Anything exciting?
I'm going to spend the weekend with my 6-month-old son and my 6-year-old daughter. I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to do that. And we're going to have some ice cream.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's get some ice cream.
Thanks for listening. If you like what you're seeing, what you're listening to, like, subscribe, leave comments, or tell us who I should be interviewing next. I'm your host, John Kudos. Thank you.